This is an informative video about the rental opportunity for households between 81% and 110% AMI at 29 Chandler Street. My name is Shannon Lawler, Housing Intake Specialist with the City of Somerville's Housing Division. Today I'd like to share with you an upcoming rental opportunity available through the Somerville Inclusionary Housing Program. This apartment is unit number 3 located at 29 Chandler Street, and it's available to households that are income eligible. This affordable rental opportunity became available as a result of the Somerville zoning ordinance's inclusionary zoning. Under these guidelines, at the time of permitting this development, 20% of the units were required to be affordable.
In order to move into an inclusionary rental unit, a lottery-winning household must be found income eligible by the city. Upon being found income eligible, they will receive a proceed letter, at which point they have the opportunity to complete a rental application and screening process with the owner of the property. There is also a credit score minimum of 600 for both of these units. Please note that households should never provide notice to a landlord until they have already received a lease offer with a date. Voucher holders can also apply for these opportunities, and minimum income limit does not apply to voucher holders. Households should also be aware that there is an annual compliance requirement where Housing Division needs to ensure that households are eligible for the units in which they reside, as well as ensure that the rent being charged is affordable. During these periods of compliance, also known as recertification, households have some room to exceed the income limit for their unit. For example, if a household qualified for a unit at 50% MFI, or median family income, in the future, that household could make up to 140% of that income, or 140% of 50% MFI. For a unit at 110% AMI, that household can make up to 120% of MFI upon recertification. If those additional limits are exceeded, at that point, households will have the option of remaining in the unit and paying market rate rent, or otherwise will need to vacate.
This slide includes some of the features available at 29 Chandler Street, number 3. It's located near Davis Square, and the development includes hardwood floors, modern kitchen appliances, and a private entrance. Some other features include granite countertops and 2 full bathrooms. 29 Chandler Street, number 3 has a monthly rent of $2,549 that includes water and sewer. The unit is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit on the ground and second floor.
Eligibility requirements for this rental opportunity include an asset limit of $75,000, which excludes all restricted accounts such as retirement accounts, college, and health savings plans. Heads of household cannot be full-time students, and in the instance there are multiple heads of household, not all can be full-time students. And verification of full-time student status must be provided by the learning institution in the form of a letter or a breakdown of course credits. And lastly, a household must be income eligible. Some additional eligibility requirements include that a household cannot own property or interest in property, and if they do, it must be sold prior to the completion of an income certification, at which point it will be counted towards the asset limit. There are also no households of convenience, so any unrelated household members, including individuals that are engaged but not married, must have a history of mutual residency leading up to November 21st, 2022, and that verification will be requested at the time of an income certification. Lastly, the size of a household must at least match the number of bedrooms in a unit. So, the minimum household size required to apply for the 4-bedroom opportunity at 126 Cross Street will be a household of 4.
Individuals to be considered household members include all persons intending to move in and reside in the unit within the first year, related or unrelated. This includes anyone under or over 18, whether or not they receive income, and includes temporarily absent household members such as dependents of the head of household that are away attending college. In the instance of joint custody of children, if a child would reside in the household 183 or more days of the year, they would be considered a member of your household. Lastly, in cases of divorce or separation from a spouse or partner, if that process is ongoing, you are required to show evidence of their residency elsewhere. Otherwise, they may be considered a member of your household for the purposes of our program.
In order to determine your household's income eligibility, you can refer to this annual income chart. These guidelines are updated on an annual basis in early or mid-summer, so you should look for the newest guidelines for each separate opportunity for which you apply. In calculating your income, note that it should be your pre-tax income. First, locate your household size on the leftmost column. Then to the right, you can find both the income minimum and maximum for your household size for the rental tier included in this presentation.
When we talk about income counted in certifications for this program, we refer to all income received by members of the household, monetary or otherwise, and even if that member of the household is temporarily absent. You should take into consideration any anticipated income as well, as income is calculated for our program looking at the next 12 months following your income certification. We also count interest accrued from assets for any assets that are worth $5,000 or more. This includes assets to which any member of the household has access, including any joint accounts. It is an applicant's responsibility to divulge their income and any changes in income accurately. So if you are unsure of how to count your income or of which tier income you would fall into, please reach out to the Inclusionary team using the contact information on the final page, and we can help you review any income or an asset documentation. On this slide, you'll see some examples of different types of income and assets, and it's important to talk about these forms of income and assets as they're sometimes forgotten. Once again, you should consider all income that you anticipate to receive within the next 12 months. What comes to mind for many when they hear income are wages or salary from employment. Also included as income is unemployment, Social Security or disability benefits, child support, even if the provider of the child support is in arrears or has fallen behind on payments. Self-employment is also considered income, even if it's an unreliable source of income or you're not paid on a regular basis. That would need to be reported at the time of your income certification. Gig work, fundraising events, or accounts such as GoFundMe, selling of art or profits from yard sales are also all forms of income, as well as interest or dividends from assets that are at or in excess of $5,000. Next, included in terms of assets for this program, besides a standard savings or checking account, are also mutual funds, investment accounts, and retirement accounts, any cryptocurrency or apps such as Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Robinhood, as well, is an example of an application that you would need to report, is considered as assets. We also require a certification of any cash on hand, which you should also disclose in your application. Please note that regardless of if there is a balance of $0 or any currency in any account of one of these types, you must provide documentation of the account. This includes all accounts in the USA or abroad, and joint or shared accounts that any or all members of the household have access to, even if someone from outside your household has access to that account as well. Here are some of the questions we will be taking into consideration during an income certification, and are things that you should take into consideration as well. Some examples are, will there be changes in employment or income during the next 12 months? That can include raises, commissions, loss of employment, new employment, seasonal income, which can also include overtime during holidays or other times of year, additional clients or contracts for those who are self-employed. You should also consider your pay frequency, whether it is weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, etc., when you're calculating your income. This slide has some tips to help you ensure that you're reporting your income as accurately as possible. First, for members of the household that are actively employed, it can be beneficial to check with your manager, HR, or a union representative about any changes in hours, anticipated raises, or other changes in income. For all bank accounts that are held or jointly held by household members, you should review 3 full months of the most recent statements to ensure that you know the origin of any and all deposits made into that account, and to review whether they would be considered income that you should be reporting. During your income certification, we will review these deposits and will require notarized affidavits explaining any deposits over $100 that can't be otherwise easily verified as income that you have already reported receiving. Next, you should review your federal tax returns for all household members. We require each household's federal tax returns for the last 3 years, which includes all pages, schedules, and W-2s. Once again, we are calculating income based on anticipated changes within the next 12 months as well. Once you have reviewed all the previous information, you can calculate your household's gross pre-tax income. We provide a page in our application packets that could be a helpful tool in doing this. For both of these units, there is a preference for households with members that either live or work 32 or more hours in Somerville. Verification of this preference must be provided at the time of an income certification and be dated within 30 days. Both live and work in Somerville preference are co-equal, meaning that one is not considered more than the other. Valid proof of residency in Somerville must include a household's name and Somerville address. Current acceptable forms of residency verification include a utility bill, a cell phone bill, a credit card statement, a voter registration letter that is current, and a current active lease. This slide includes an example of a valid residency verification in the form of a utility bill, and the arrows indicate the date of the statement as well as the address and name of the individual. In order to receive a work in Somerville preference, verification must be provided that includes the household member's name, the address at which they are employed, and the number of hours worked per week. For businesses with multiple locations, there must be verification that the household member works at a location within Somerville with the address of that location. Additionally, applicants that work in co-working spaces will not be eligible for a Somerville work preference. Lastly, employees that work hybrid models may still be able to receive Somerville work preference if their employers can verify that they still work at least 32 hours in a location in Somerville. This slide provides an example of a work in Somerville preference verification, which is a letter on company letterhead, including the date, the name of the person at the company verifying the information, the name of the applicant, the number of hours worked per week in a Somerville location, and the contact information and position of the staff person verifying. In order for an application to be considered complete and accurate, it must include all of the following. It must be signed by all household members over 18. E-signatures will be accepted. All questions on the application must be answered, even if the answer is not applicable or NA. Additionally, you must indicate whether you are applying with Somerville preference, as well as whether you have a rental voucher, even though verification of these items is not required until an income certification has already begun. If you do not indicate the accurate information, you may not be entered into the correct lottery pools, or you may be found ineligible for the lottery entirely. The consequences of not disclosing your accurate income information can mean losing out on the opportunity to participate in the lottery and have the opportunity to rent an affordable unit. If you have questions about how to calculate your income, please reach out to the Inclusionary team using the contact information on the final slide of this presentation.
The deadline for applications for this affordable rental opportunity is Thursday, November 9th at 2 p.m. We encourage households to submit their applications as early as possible, as the Housing Division reviews applications on an ongoing basis as we receive them. If they're submitted early enough, we may have a chance to review your application and inform you of any missing or incomplete documentation prior to the application deadline. We will not accept any applications after 2 p.m. on November 9th, including postmarked mailed applications. Currently, we accept applications through email at inclusionary@SomervilleMA.gov, fax at 617-591-3600, 3235, or mailed or brought in to us in the form of a hard copy addressed to Somerville City Hall Annex, Attention Inclusionary Housing, at 50 Evergreen Ave, Somerville, Massachusetts, 02145.
This slide includes information on the application period, where to find applications, as well as our virtual office hours every Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., where staff are available to answer any questions.
On this slide, you can find the information for the lottery. The video of the lottery should be viewable on YouTube within 24 hours, at which point we will have contacted the winner of the lottery for the opportunity to move forward with their certification process. If you have not heard from us within 24 hours, you most likely were not selected at the very top of the lottery. Full waitlists will be posted within 2 weeks on the Inclusionary website. The income documentation process also takes a few weeks, but households do not always qualify, so if you're selected second in the lottery for a unit, you may also want to prepare your income and asset documentation for certification.
Documentation required for an income certification includes 2021 tax returns for all adult household members, which includes all pages, schedules, and W-2s. If an adult household member did not file taxes, then a non-filer's affidavit will be required. For all asset statements, the 3 most recent complete months must be provided, which would begin in October of 2022 and end in January of 2023. For all assets, the entirety of the statements must be provided, even if pages are left blank. And all assets must be reported even if there's zero or negative balance, as well as any accounts that have been closed within the last 12 months. Additionally, for all sources of income received by household members, full 3 months of statements must be provided, spanning from the months of October 2022 to January 2023. For full-time students, a letter must be provided by the registrar's office stating that the student is going full-time at the time of income certification. For adult household members that have zero income, an affidavit form must be completed and notarized, and that can be provided by Housing Division. If a household member is self-employed, then a previous 12 months profit and loss statement must be provided, as well as an anticipated profit and loss projection for the following 12 months. Mind that this is not an exhaustive list of income documentation that may be required, where every household situation is different. And additionally, this is not documentation required for every household that will be entered into the lottery, so you do not need to prepare all of this as you are completing your lottery application. However, if you've placed near the top of the lottery, you may begin to want to prepare these documents.
This final slide includes contact information for a member of the development team if you have questions about the property, as well as contact information for the inclusionary team and where to find the information and application packet.